You know what time it is. It's time to recap the month that was April of 2024.
Wow.
Per usual, time is just flying by lickety-split. But we got some things we want to talk about, some things that we don't even have something to talk about in said categories, but we're going to march right along.
Yes, we're going to march right along in April.
Yeah.
The first two categories is Channel of the Month and Video of the Month. And this month, we don't have anything for those because I feel like I haven't been watching YouTube. I mean, I've been watching YouTube, but it's just been the casual or like the normal people I watch. You know, I've been watching a lot of Megadan, his streams, his What's Really Hoods, Nightcaps and Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Watching him stream a ton, Pixel Plus, Captain when he streams.
Yeah, you know, the usual suspects. I think I'm right there with you on those. I like watching live streams. I like watching people play games. And it's weird because I watch a lot of Pixel Game Squad and Pixel Plus, but I'm just getting very kind of burnt out on the game hunting. And it seems like that's what most channels are doing.
That's what everybody has gotten a little bit of clicks because of it, and they're following it.
Yeah, which is fine. To each their own. But it's just not.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, you know, if I'm going to watch that type of stuff, I'm going to go with my favorites, right? The Game Chasers and Pixel Game Squad. And honestly, it's kind of demotivated me in a way from wanting to make any hunting videos because it's just like, it's just getting stale, in my opinion. And then everybody right now is also jumping on the Xbox 360 train, which I get it, it's timely, but it's like, yeah, Pete Dorr already did that video. And it was a great video. Yeah. And now everybody else, and we're getting messages. When are you guys gonna? What else can we say?
We're gonna do videos in the future diving into the actual store and talking about specific games. Yeah. But we're not gonna do videos like, oh, now's the time to buy physical games.
Because we were telling you all that 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now is not the time to buy the games. That window has shut. So we're not gonna tell you that.
Maybe buy PS4 games and Xbox One games.
Dad, there you go. That's where you need to
get ahead of the curve. So that's basically it for the first two categories. Kind of lame, kind of sucks, but that's honest. You know, we're not going to be like, oh, we're watching this when we're not actually.
Yeah, for sure.
But now moving on to Video Game of the Month.
Landslide.
Oh, wow. So we've been playing a lot of games, which feels great.
Yeah.
But hands down, it has to be The Terminator on Sega CD. Holy hell.
Yeah.
This game is phenomenal.
I can't say enough good things about it. A, the soundtrack is amazing.
Yes.
B, it's a standalone game on the Sega CD. There's a lot of cool games that had a better soundtrack on the Sega CD. I think of like Demolition Man. Yep. It's the same exact game as the Genesis one, from what I know, from what I can tell. I haven't played it on the Sega CD. I have played it on the Genesis. But the soundtrack's way better on the Sega CD. But this Terminator game, it's its own freaking thing.
It's its own game, its own thing, and the gameplay is phenomenal. The levels are fun. It's a kind of easy game except till the end.
Yeah.
And then the last two levels are really hard. It's a longer game, which is super nice. Man, it's so cool how it follows the movie so well. Like the first part of the game, you're back in time, and then you travel back to the future. It is an amazing game. It's like one of the best movie-made video games, I think.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
I loved it. And what's weird is, and this is where some people like will talk about games on this platform, and I don't know how much they really spent time playing it. Because I've seen videos where people bag on this game for the shooting directions and stuff. Now, I will say it's not quite in line with a Contra.
Yep.
But I've seen people in videos say when you're on the stairs, you gotta know how to play the game.
Yeah, you gotta play it differently.
You can walk forward on the stairs and shoot down at an angle, or you can duck on the stairs and shoot straight forward. Yeah. You gotta learn the mechanics of the game. I'm not saying that's the way I would have created it. I mean, I don't even know how to create games. I think obviously if it had the, 8-directional Contra shooting.
Yes.
But there's a way to make almost every shot in this, even if it's a snapback type of situation.
And with the grenades, it's really fun too. When you're on a ladder, you can just throw a grenade out of your pocket. I love doing the pocket drop.
It's called the pocket drop.
The pocket drop. It is such a fun game. We did beat it, but now our goal is to no death run it. We've gotten to like level 8 without dying. Yep. But the last two levels, that's when it's just like, oh my god, it's hard as hell. And it's a longer game, so it's a little bit tough. I didn't know what to expect when we picked it up, but then when I started playing, I was like, I can't stop thinking about this game. I want to beat it. Yep. I want to keep playing it. Like even when we beat it, I was like, you just want to play it again?
It's I think the most expensive game in our Sega CD collection, but it was worth every penny. We've got our money's worth already, and we're still working with the no death run and everything like that.
Oh, dude, it is phenomenal. Now moving on to Comment of the Month. And this came through in our pickups video. This is from Bandits Best 686, and he commented, it's such a novel concept in 2024, and you guys prove this idea. Actually playing consoles and games you buy. And playing them and showing them on your YouTube channel, what amount of retro YouTubers do this in 2024? Less than 5%? Most focus on the money side of it, and that's a dime a dozen crap now.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a negative comment in a way, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, I might reply to him, and I don't remember exactly what I said verbatim, but it pretty much said what I wanted to say. That's why we started this channel. It was an excuse to play more games.
Yes.
We know damn well when we post a no death run that it's not going to do well on the channel. If that's all we cared about, I know what our meal ticket is. It's following this digital media transition from physical media. We have a video that had almost 300,000 views. It probably will by the end of the next month. Other videos around 100,000, 50,000. Every time we talk about that, it pops off. But we've said what we want to say about it.
Yeah, and there's nothing else. Like, we're not going to beat the dead horse. Obviously, we did a lot of videos about it, and we kind of did beat the dead horse.
I mean, maybe 5.
But when more news comes out, we want to talk about it because we've been talking about it since the beginning. And also, like we mentioned at the top, like, we used to do hunting videos, but it's just becoming, like, tiresome. Like, everybody's just caring about flipping. Yeah. And we just are like, man, we got a Sega CD, we got a Sega Saturn. Yeah. Let's fucking play these games. And this year, I've discovered so many amazing games that are potentially going to be in my top 10 games of all time.
Yeah.
Like Terminator, that game's amazing. Scud is phenomenal. Like, I'm just learning about so many new games, and that's what video games are about. It should be about playing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it's to maybe our own detriment, but it is nice that someone recognizes that. I think a lot of people that do like us recognize it, but that's probably why our channel is just always going to kind of stay middle of the road as far as size goes, and we're blessed to have the following that we have.
Yes, thank you guys.
But thank you so much for that comment, because it's just nice that someone out there appreciates it,
and notices that, like, okay, we're not following fucking...
Yeah, I would appreciate that more out of some channels, though. You know, you talk about all these games that we should get or that are awesome and that you remember, but it's like, when's the last time you played it?
Yeah.
just a question. I don't need an answer. I think I know the answer, though. But anyway, we'll leave it right there.
Never.
Yeah.
We love playing video games.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a video game channel, but now we got to move on to beer of the month / drink of the month, because it's not a beer this month. I will say we had some pretty good IPAs from Kyle Martin, and we had that really unique breakfast IPA.
Yeah,
the
from
banana ones,
Treehouse.
From Treehouse. But this month's drink of the month has to be a whiskey, and it's Bland's.
Yeah, and it's, for whatever reason, it's hard as hell to find in their area. They have jacked up the price. I remember Bland's as being a good $60 to $70 bottle. Now it's a little bit more than that, but we've been looking for it for a long time.
I don't think I'd ever had it.
We got our hands actually on some Bland's and some Jefferson Reserve.
Oh, yes.
But it's tucked away. It's just kind of we get one finger on some ice as a treat when we're good boys.
Yes.
And
celebratory.
We're trying to keep it around for a while.
But it's just so cool because it's one of those bottles that I've heard of. Mm-hmm. And I've seen, obviously, because it has the cool horse on the top. Yeah. But I've never tried. And we... horse.
That's the sound of horse.
We love whiskey. We drink a lot of Canadian Club and stuff like that. But when I took a sip of it, I was like goosebumps, and I was like, man, this is like... And I just drank it slow and just really enjoyed. It was delicious, and that Jefferson was really good too.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so fun having nice whiskey.
Yeah.
So that definitely, hands down, has to be the drink of the month because I've never had it before.
Yeah. Newer category for us. What's spinning? What are we listening to? We did pick up, and I can't remember if we've talked about this already. Maybe we did, but we did pick up. I picked up a couple vinyls. I picked up the Pure Massacre Silverchair vinyl, and a Cure live vinyl. We may have talked.
I think
about
we might have talked about it last month. I think so.
But I've been still listening to those a little bit. But then we got that nice little nugget, like a Friday or so ago, I believe, of the new Pearl Jam record.
Yes, which, to be honest, I'm not the biggest Pearl Jam fan.
Nor am I.
But when we put this album on, we put it on the game room, I was like, dude, this sounds like 90s Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like they're back. And the single off of it, Dark Matter, that's, I think, the best song on the album. I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but we've been having it on in the background. That song is badass. But that song is being blown up right now. It's like on rock radio and everything.
Yeah.
But I was shocked by it. I was like, this album's really good.
Yeah, I mean... from what I heard, now keep in mind we've been doing a lot of other things, but it's been on.
It's been on.
You know, a lot of Pearl Jam stuff that has been released, you know, I don't know, 2005 and beyond, I feel like, has been like one or two really good songs and a bunch of filler. Kind of like a lot of bands do.
Yeah.
Later in their time.
Foo Fighters?
Yeah. And I love the Foo Fighters. But this feels like a cohesive piece of work.
Yes, it does. It feels like an album.
Which is a rare thing these days. I don't know why we're shouting people out and giving them so much kudos for writing a cohesive piece of music. Seems like a logical thing to do.
Well, that's because people aren't. You
know? Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what's been.
That's basically
planned.
just what's been on. It's been so fun, and it's like it's getting me in a Pearl Jam mood, which is weird because I'm not a big fan. But it's also like, man, 90s grunge, let's go. Yeah. And I've been diving back into the Presidents again, Presidents of the United States.
Oh yeah,
dude, they're one of my favorite bands. And I think we talked about it before, but you got to check out the song Crown Victoria.
Oh,
I've been listening to Kudos to You. That's the album that it's on.
Yeah,
that album's fantastic. You got freaking Crappy Ghost. That's a great song.
Yeah,
but Crown Victoria.
It's
such a good song.
I'm not trying to be funny. It is one of the best songs I've ever heard.
It is so catchy.
Yeah.
Like the chorus, it's a beautiful song. Every time it ends, I gotta listen to it again.
The harmonies.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Used to crumble donuts on your seats. Policemen like to eat and lick their fingers. Stocked in standard leather, everything. Power locks and steering. Linger, please. Crown Victoria, you make me smile. Crown Victoria, a million miles.
So that's what we've been listening to. But what have we been watching? What's on? Speaking of the Sega CD and the Terminator, we've been watching Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah, just going back through them. And what's weird is we just had went through them right when the game room was built. Those were the first two movies we watched in
But they were in the background, and I was like, okay, cool, we're doing things. But then when we beat the Terminator on Sega CD, and we put in the Terminator movie, I was like, wait a second. I know that level.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, the game did... So, like, I played the game first, basically, and then studied the movie. Obviously, I've seen the movie a ton, but they covered everything. So cool.
They did a fantastic job.
And the first two Terminator movies are badass. I love how the first one is, like, less actiony and more kind of just a scary movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a horror film. Kind of like the first Alien. It's just kind of like a scary movie. But then the second one, it gets a little bit... The second one's badass. I think it gets third and on, gets more just actiony and explosions and shit.
Yeah.
But it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's been just awesome to watch that stuff. I did just scoop, though. You guys are probably going to be hearing about this in the next monthly recap. Cocoon. I've been wanting the VHS of Cocoon for a really long time.
Oh, I have that at home.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Ron Howard film?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
I don't know anything about it, but that's on my stack.
Yeah.
I have a copy of that.
Yep. Excited to check it out.
I'm excited because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But Terminator, it's fun.
Yep, absolutely.
Now let's move on to the Patreon Q&A.
Let's go.
Okay, the first question we got is from Michael TMNT. He just goes, favorite shmup? Oh,
man.
That's tough.
That is really tough. The one that's been with me the longest is Gradius.
The OG on
the OG
NES.
On NES. But anymore, I don't know that that's my favorite. I really, really like Gigawing 1 and 2.
On the Dreamcast.
Yep. I really like Radiant Silvergun. But, man, I have a real special place. I'm going to say my favorite one is R-Type Final on PS2. I love that game.
That game is phenomenal.
Yeah. Slow, methodical, feels like the end, just feels like the... I don't know. There's something about it.
It's not the end, though, because there's an R-Type Final 2.
And I think a Final 3. I think they just came out.
Just change the name.
I'm pretty sure it's a PS5 exclusive.
That's so... I'm sure it's a great game.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta call it that?
Yeah, I know.
The first one that comes to my mind is the original Gradius. I love that game. That's what kind of got me into shmups. Mm-hmm. But I've been really digging, and I would like to beat the shmup we just got on PS2. Slipseed or whatever it's called.
Oh, Sylphid.
Sylphid, yes. That game is beautiful.
It's a short game.
Reminds me a lot of like Gradius 5 a little bit, but it's such an awesome game.
Yeah.
But I love shmups, but I don't play them a ton, so it's hard to pick a favorite. Obviously, there's so many good ones and so many amazing ones, but
it's a weird thing for me. I wouldn't say I play them all the time, but when I am in the mood to play one, it's like tunnel vision, and I pick one, and I like
because you got to be locked in, and it's a focus thing. But I think just overall, the first Gradius is that always will hold a special place in my heart. Yeah. Next question is from Tumo. What are a couple of games you wish had local multiplayer that either only had online or were strictly single player campaigns?
That's a
the first thing that comes to my mind, and we were going to talk about it when we first started the channel, is the Payday games.
Yeah.
Where you rob a bank.
Yeah.
And they're multiplayer games, but online only.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you do that split screen?
Yeah.
That would be an amazing couch co-op game where you rob banks. Mm-hmm. Why? That's still frustrating to me that they didn't do that.
Yeah. You guys are going to see a video where we know a workaround for this, but it's always been frustrating to me, the wrestling games that don't have a co-op story mode.
Yes.
Because there's no reason for it.
Yeah, why can't you do it?
Yeah, so that's always been annoying. I don't have anything else that really comes to mind.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was Payday.
Yeah.
Just because I was so excited to play that two-player, and it's just like, what? That sucks.
There's probably plenty of games like that.
There's probably so many, but that's what I think of. Next one is by Jordan Peters. With life responsibilities and obligations, how much do you truly get to game per week on average?
Whew, man, that's a really good question.
Yeah, because life is busy.
Well, I mean, we get together, so we do the channel Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Obviously, life can interrupt that, but that's our traditional schedule.
Yeah, that's our normal schedule.
I'd say 3 out of the 4 weeks every month on average, we hit that schedule, and then usually there's a day or so, unless we're at a convention.
Yeah.
So there's obviously gameplay time within that, but then we're making videos and stuff too. So,
but that's what's nice. That's built in.
Yeah.
We're working, but we're playing games.
And we've been trying to get better at like ending our YouTube sessions with playing something.
Yes.
And usually that involves like an hour. So let's just say those 5 days we get together, we at least game for 5 hours. I think that's probably fair.
Yes, together.
Then
but usually more.
Yeah, so at least that per week I would say is a safe number. And then I've got I play Madden with a good buddy from work probably 2 or 3 nights a week, and we play for probably 2 hours a session most every day when I get home. If I beat the lady home, then I get some shit done around the house quick, and I put in some time on something. I've been playing a lot of Terminator 2 with the Menacer light gun.
Oh, badass, yep.
I don't know. I think a safe bet would be 10 hours a week for me.
Yeah, I was thinking 10, if I'm lucky 15.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot, you know, because obviously we do a channel, work, school, there's a lot of shit going on. Plus, if you have a channel, editing, post-production, all this other stuff. But it all depends. Sometimes I go through waves where I'm not really gaming at home. Mm-hmm. But lately I've been gaming a ton at home. Like I just 100%ed Breath of the Wild, which is phenomenal. I literally 100%ed it and then got badges that aren't even part of 100%. But so most people probably didn't do that. Yeah. But I did. I took photos of it. Yeah. And then I just started Far Cry Primal. So when I have a game that I'm really digging, then I'll freaking be like, okay, well, I got home. Let me just play this for a couple hours. Yeah, so it all depends. But lately, I've been gaming a ton, and it's so fun to just have a game where I'm like, okay, when I'm home, I'm playing this. When I'm in the game room, I'm playing this. Yep. It's kind of fun to have multiple games. So
for sure,
I'd probably say on average 10 to 15 hours. Yeah, which is still that's a lot.
That's quite a bit. Yes, yeah. Especially, I mean, you got school. I work. I don't know, 50, 55 hours a week, run the eBay store, do this.
Plus, a bunch of other, and then just hanging out with friends. Yeah, doing all kinds of things. Sean asked, if you could only play 2D or 3D forever, which would you choose?
2D.
I was thinking 2D too.
Yeah.
2D too. Yeah. 2D fruity.
Yeah.
I love platformers. I love running guns. 3D games are awesome, like open world. Obviously, Breath of the Wild, I brought it up, and Far Cry and all that stuff. But man, 2D, you can get in, get out. They're quick games.
Yep.
I think, but you're giving up a lot of things. But
you are.
They're also, you can kind of make it up in other games. There's just so much retro stuff that I haven't got to. Yeah. So if I could only do probably 2D,
it'd be retro.
Even though the 3D games are way longer.
Yeah.
But 2D for sure. JDab asks, if you had to start collecting from scratch today, How long do you think it would take you to get a decent collection for each of your retro consoles you own?
I don't think it would take me all that long. I don't know what a decent collection is to get to this level. I would never have this same collection again. I'm too cheap.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this stuff was procured at the right time. And some of the more heavies that we have were like huge lots right before we started the channel, but we were still buddies. We were doing the band thing. I remember I went to Marshalltown, Iowa, and I bought a shitload of video games.
Yeah, it was
for like $800 or something like that. And really got the ball rolling on things. And I had already had a collection as well. And then we bought that $4,000 game lot, you know, couple 2 or 3 years ago. So I mean, that stuff I would still do, but I mean, some of the stuff I just wouldn't pay some of the prices today.
And we've flipped our way like through garage sale videos and stuff like that, and we've done content on that.
I think I probably I mean, I've got literally one of those reusable grocery bags and a tote out there of stuff that I have found in the last like 3 weeks.
Damn. Yeah.
I just found the Guy game on PS2. Maybe even a hunting video coming down the line if we ever do another one. But guys, the Guy game, that discontinued game, and I got it for like $4, and I sold it for $130,
which is insane. But that's how you can get.
But that's how
you can get like a $100 NES game or something. like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it would probably take, because we would be patient.
Yeah.
Obviously, so it'd probably take. I mean, it took us 6 years to get all this.
Yeah.
You know, so it'd probably take a couple
and that
years.
was starting from. I still had a lot of stuff from when I was a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you started, So it would probably take a few years. Obviously, we wouldn't be this size, but we would have like the games that we love and care about. We wouldn't just go out and be like, oh, buy. No, we'd be like, okay, let's get one heavy hitter if we find something, or flip, you know, buy lots. Melissa asks, what is the biggest selling/trading gaming mistake that you have ever done? Oh man, price value probably isn't anything, but when I was a kid, dude, I would sell all of my games to GameStop.
Yeah.
All of them. Like on PS2, if I wanted a different game, I would just take it, and then I wouldn't be able to get a brand new game. I'd have to get a used game, so it'd come in the GameStop case, just so I could play something new.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
I was getting rid of so much stuff just so I could play From Russia with Love on PS2.
Yeah.
Not even it's fine, but it's like.
No, I don't know. My Game Boy collection was sold out from under me, and I didn't know that was happening, so that sucked. I didn't do the GameStop thing very often.
I did it so much.
I remember, doing it occasionally, like if I'd get an NCAA game and I didn't really care for it, and right before the new Madden came out, and it was the same year, so I could get a pretty good trade in. But I didn't do that a lot. I mean, I've made a few mistakes as a kid, like everybody else did, but I always wanted to keep my stuff. I never was over the NES, because I had that console all the way until it was 97 that I got my Super Nintendo.
That's wild.
And my NES and my Super Nintendo, keep in mind, if I got a new console, I was only going to get a couple games.
Yeah,
and that was going to be all I had for a long time. And I was like, dude, well, most of my games are on the NES. So I never got rid of my NES. I never got rid of my Super Nintendo. I never got rid of my PlayStation. I never got rid of my N64. But yeah, I mean,
the one that kind of makes me think of is when you did that trade for the PS1 games.
Yeah.
But it was a good trade, but then you just forgot to get.
Yeah.
So that was R-Type Delta.
R-Type Delta.
Yeah.
I traded that for Symphony of the Night, and the game was available on PS3 digitally.
Yeah, digitally.
Delta was, and I didn't grab it, and so then I couldn't.
Then you had to buy it again.
I was fairly fortunate. I mean, there is stuff. When I moved to college, my bottom drawer of my dresser was full of all my boxes for my games. And I don't remember exactly what I had, but I know on NES I had Mario 3. I know I had Super Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Country, Super WrestleMania, Tetris on the Game Boy.
And you had the boxes?
I had the boxes. And I just had them in my bottom drawer, just filed like a filing cabinet.
Oh my god!
And I had a bunch of N64 ones. That was probably the most that I had. I know I had the Mario Kart, the GoldenEye, the No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, all those. And I don't remember exactly why I didn't take those with me, because I had the totes of my retro stuff that I moved to a storage unit.
Well, yeah.
And I think I probably just told my mom, like, it's okay. Like, I have the games.
That sucks.
I mean, that drawer probably thousands of dollars in there,
Well, dude, Speaking of that, when I was a kid, I remember I got an N64. Games would come in the cardboard. I would just go. So I would throw the cardboard away. I think we would keep the console boxes in case we had to return the console.
Yeah.
You know, that would go in the basement. But for the games, dude, I would just fucking rip it open and just have loose cards laying. Because I was like, it's cardboard, dude. I don't. But now looking back, I'm like, what did I do?
I kept them mostly because I wanted a place for my manuals, and I loved.
Oh yeah.
And
cool.
I kept the plastic for the cartridges in all of them. And I never really liked those plastic sliders for the bottom of Super Nintendo games. So all my boxes, if it came with one of those, had those in it. I don't know why.
Damn. Yeah.
And in some of those games, if you guys remember, came with like promotional posters.
Oh,
I do have a couple of my original promotional posters. We have a WWF Attitude one over there.
Yeah, which is badass.
But I had a lot.
And that was all just like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Dude. Charles asked, are you going to be at any other conventions this year? Yes, we are going to be at 2 more. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So the first one coming up is SoCal Retro Gaming in Pasadena, California.
Yep.
Never been to California, so I'm super excited for that. And the Pixel Boys own this convention now.
Yep.
They're running it, which is super fun. I think we have a panel, which is badass. It's going to be really fun. And then we're going to be in Mo Game Con, which is in Missouri.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, towards the end of July.
Yep.
So I think SoCal's at the beginning of June and then end of July.
Yep.
And I think that's it for cons for this year. We usually do about 3 a year. Jake Chip asks, what is the largest part of your collection and what's the smallest part of your collection?
Whew, man, I'd have to look. I honestly don't know.
PS2 is probably up there on biggest.
I think PS2 is pretty robust. PS3 is really robust.
Smallest would probably have to be the Sega CD.
Yep.
Or
that's the newest.
Or Sega Saturn because they're both the newest.
Yeah.
And we just have a couple games for it.
And my Vita collection's pretty small. So is my DS and 3DS collection.
Well, you got some
some heavies in there.
But probably PS2 or Gen 7, PS3, Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a decent PS4 collection. And, that's tough, though, because it's hard to tell visually. Yeah. Especially because the retro stuff, they're bigger.
Yeah.
And then the last one in the Patreon Q&A is from Sean, Chunks Games. Any garage sale miniseries videos this summer? If so, what Grail games is at the top of your pickup list? Dang, we've been kind of talking about hunting all episode.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If we have a day or two where we go out and we feel like letting the cameras roll, we may do that. I don't know why, but I'm just kind of annoyed that that's all retro gaming on YouTube is becoming. And I've always been a person, guys. When kids in school were all doing this, I was going to be doing that. When everybody wanted this, I wanted that.
Well, you just do your own thing.
I'm just an against the grain type of guy, and now that I see it, I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
We might do like videos here and there, but I don't know if we're gonna like flip our way to anything this year. If anything, if we do go out, it might just be like, oh, we went out this morning. The video is just about this.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be different. But I don't know if even we're gonna
more
do that.
More of like a vlog style or something.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't like watching game hunting videos. I get that some people do, and it's super cool, but it's kind of fun to just talk about retro and play retro games.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing our top 5 couch co-op games on and off for a while, and that's just so fun because we dive into a console, we play a ton of games, and then we talk about those specific games, and that's fun.
And I don't know how to cover this on the channel, but we'll tell this group right here. We did get our Japanese Dreamcast. We did get our Japanese light guns, and they are fucking dialed in, guys. They are so much better than the trash we got in North America.
Yes.
I feel bad that I didn't go this route, but our buying guide was on the North American stuff for the most part. Yeah. But dang.
Yeah, we
both have played.
Last night we played Confidential Mission on the Japanese Dreamcast. So there's Japanese things on it, but they speak in English, so that's kind of cool. And then with the Japanese guns, dude, it was dialed in. I was like, on the American version, I could never shoot that.
Yeah.
But now I'm freaking popping.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. So if
does
you're looking into that.
It does speak, though, to all the comments that we got that was like, maybe it's your TV, maybe it's just like, hang on a second, guys. Every other light gun console works on this TV.
Not the
I have
TV.
a hard time believing it's the TV and the Dreamcast. It's those rubbish Mad Catz light guns. So they're good enough to get you by,
but they're not.
These are
dialed and they feel good.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the last category of the monthly recap, and that is monthly highlights. Obviously, the first one, Midwest Gaming Classic. This happened at the beginning of April, so we didn't talk about it last month. Dude, it so much freaking fun.
Yeah.
It was badass to see everybody, hang out with everybody. We saw a bunch of you guys there. Freaking Cobra flew in from freaking Seattle. Kyle drove up from Ohio. Freaking Melissa and Jim. And then it was so fun hanging out with other YouTubers. Megadane, Captain Dan, all this. It was badass. And it was so fun because it had been a couple years since I had actually experienced a con. Because usually we were vending or something. So this time I actually got to wander around and look at things and play pinball and play, free play games. And it was fun. It was awesome.
It was a great time, and everything Robert said, I agree with. And I will say, to add to that, personally, but I think collectively, we seen the coolest display I have ever seen at a video game convention.
Oh, hands down.
It was a World of Nintendo display. We talked about it in another episode of the pickups video from it or whatever, but we will show some B-roll of the book that we got. So the author is the owner of this display. Takes you all the way back to like that 87 to 90 pocket of Nintendo store displays. They had the globe. They had the multi-deck switcher you could play on a tube TV. We got to watch Dan No Death run Contra and take out Mr. Dream on that, which was awesome.
Dude, it was so badass. Everything was in pristine, perfect condition. It felt like you were walking into a toy store from the 90s, and they had like games on display. Like you could buy
on their hang tabs.
And then like, there was a hang tab that said that coming soon. And it was like Dr. Mario or something. It was like, that's insane, dude. They had Game Boy stuff, Super Nintendo. It was
so dope.
It was so cool. And I don't have any nostalgia for it, but even I was like, dude, this is really cool. Because you don't see these kiosks or displays anywhere, and the fact that they were pristine, and you could just go in, like, there was like places where you could play. It was
just so cool
to
talk to the author of the book and the guy that runs the display. This is just passion project and his little side hustle and crazy collection that his wife is probably busting his balls about now. He's going around touring conventions with this stuff. It's so rad.
It's wild that he has all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, what do you do with it? Like, where do you put it all? And how do you keep it in such good shape?
And shame on us, we don't have the best footage of it. If anybody does, Cobra, if you took any pictures or anything, make sure you send them our way. But we will show some footage from a buddy of ours that took a video, and then I did take a little bit of video of Dan playing.
But it's mostly just of Dan.
But it's just display one angle.
Oh, dude, it's so
You get an idea, you'll be able to see the book, but if you ever get out to a game con and they have that display, you need to check it out.
It was phenomenal. And then it's so fun hanging out at the hotel room. That's what, when you go to conventions, obviously it's fun to go to the convention itself, but spend your time just in a room. Like, obviously it's fun to go out to dinner and all this stuff, but you're going to have more fun and save a lot more time if you just hang out in the hotel room, grab some beer and then put it in the mini fridge and just play games together. Like, we had a packed room of people. We were playing NFL Blitz. We were playing Saturn Bomberman. That was so fun. And it's just, you're talking to people, you're hanging out, you're taking turns playing. It's a blast. That's my favorite part of convention.
Yeah, we've made that mistake before where you go out of town and people, I think it's their nature. They want to go experience the town. But before you know it, it's all over. And the best times we have had at conventions is like what you just said. Just hunker down. Let's hang out. Even if you have to Grubhub some food.
Just order a pizza or
That's going to be the memories that are made as opposed to running to the local barcade and waiting in line to play games and maybe not being able to talk to each other because it's too loud. It is fun.
It is fun, but it's so much because it's more intimate and you're just hanging out with people that you know, and it's just, it is fun, dude. It is so fun. And then the other highlight, it kind of relates to Minutes Gaming Classic, is we got a Sega CD, and then also coming in the mail, a 32X.
Yeah, Bob is coming through in the clutch, our good buddy. I think he was helping a friend's parents move, and they found an extra 32X, and he's like, it's all yours, man. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know anything about the 32X. I'm just now learning about the Sega CD.
Yeah.
We're going to have the Tower of Power.
Yeah.
And it's
going to be too sweet to be sour. Dude.
Yeah. Pump dip it into the pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just so fun. We've been doing the channel for so long, but we're discovering so many new games or things that we didn't know about or didn't play, and it's fun, dude.
It's dope.
And that's been our April.
Yeah, it's been our April.
We do need to talk about this beer real quick before we leave.
No foolies.
This is the Blinding Light Show. This is a Lumifarious India Pale Ale. I don't know if I said that right.
Luminifarious.
Luminifarious. This is by War Pigs Brewing. Comes in at 7.5%. This was in the Three Floyds sampler pack, so I'm guessing it's a collab.
Well, I think this sampler pack actually is their stuff and Three Floyds.
It's a joint?
It's like their featured joint sampler pack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so there were 2 3 Floyds and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of this?
I think it's fantastic. First beer of the day,
Yeah.
and it's a hoppy son of a gun. I mean, it's not killing my palate, but it is just a nice toothy IPA.
But it's not. I love IPAs, so maybe I'm just adjusted to it. It's not super aggressive. You get a really good citrus flavor.
Yep.
There was freaking chunks and floaties in this. It's a cloudy beer.
Like it's unfiltered.
It's really smooth, really tasty. I was like, this is a great beer to start the day off.
Yeah, let's go.
Where you're like, let's go, and it's 7.5. Woo, easy drinker. Like mine's almost gone. Obviously, we've been filming for a while, but mine's almost gone already. It sucks that this was a sampler pack because I could just keep drinking these.
Yeah, I don't think you can in our area, anyways. I don't think anything. Well, the 3 Floyd stuff you can, but this stuff you can't.
Yeah,
I've never standalone.
I've never seen this brewery in our area. War Pigs. It just makes me think of freaking Black Sabbath, dude.
Yeah.
I am War Pig.
Man, bear, pig.
Man, bear, pig. But this beer is really good. I'm really enjoying it, and it's always fun to have the first beer of the day be a good one.
Yeah.
And there's even like freaking
some
yeah,
I see it.
Yeah,
Crusty.
Oh, we like that. But that's our April.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. By the way, cut my beer off.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the new guy?
But by now you probably already know.
Where's Robert? What have you done with him?
Well, I'm Robert from the future.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
You and I look
We've
10
been
years
watching too
younger.
much Terminator. All right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, subscribing to the channel. Hope you had an awesome April. Thanks for being along for the ride the whole entire time. And let's collectively have an even better May.
It's gonna be May.
Yeah. Fair enough. Later, guys.